Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gaman-Singh. Topping our newscast, the Virgin Islands election system is ready for the August 2nd primaries. According to Election Supervisor Carolyn Fox, if you're planning to vote in the primary elections, here are some important dates this week, as well as reminders to make sure you have a smooth voting experience on Saturday. News 2's April Knight has more.
The primaries are less than 5 days away and should cut the number of running candidates in half as party members finally decide whom they want to represent them in the general elections in November. Poll watchers and poll workers are currently going through training for Saturday's elections. At the election system, officials are scurrying to make sure everything is in place. The election system website, www.vivote.gov, has plenty of information for voters, sample ballots for the primaries, a listing of candidates, and voters' rights and responsibilities are mouse clicks away for the voting populace.
There are some responsibilities also that the voters have, and we're trying to put that out. And we want to make sure voters know their rights and they comply with their rights.
On Wednesday, July 30th, ballot testing goes on in both districts starting 5:30 p.m. The following day, July 31st, you can watch as the electronic voting machines are tested on both St. Thomas and St. Croix, also starting 5:30. Polling places are also posted so you know where to go on Saturday to pick your party candidate.
You need to know the locations of your polling places, and if they have problems at the polling place, to receive assistance from the judges or whoever in charge of that polling site. If you have a question, written instructions will be provided on each of the ballots and in the voting area if they have other questions.
The countdown to round one continues, and all eyes are on the polls to see who gets to proceed to the final round in November. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
And here are the St. Thomas polling places. Tutu Park Mall will serve the voters who normally go to Ken School, Gomez, Curriculum Center, E. Benjamin Oliver, and Bertha C. Bechelta. CAHS will serve the voters who go to Oswald Harris Court. Gladys Abraham will serve voters who go to Kerwin Terrace or Ulla F. Muller School, last names A to L. Adelita Cancrine will serve voters who normally go to Leonard Dober and Ulla Muller, last names M to Z. We will update you as soon as possible on the St. Croix polling places as they are released. Two bills that would benefit the Port Authority were signed into law by Governor DeJongh Friday. But another piece of legislation wasn't so lucky. A bill that would have established a public corporation to hold the assets of a company in receivership was given the axe by the governor. DeJongh said the bill was flawed, and because the Senate rushed it, it would actually cost the struggling government millions if passed. Under the bill, the government's public corporation would hold and manage the assets of Lonesome Dove Petroleum Company. The company owes back taxes to the VI, and the governor argued that the company needs to be transferred to a VI entity that will keep Lonesome Dove in receivership to get the back taxes owed. He said transferring those assets to a VI entity that would spend the money would mean a loss of the federal tax exemption and ultimately lost revenue. In other news, major crime detectives on St. Thomas are investigating the fatal shooting of 21-year-old Shaquille Percell. Concerned citizens contacted the 911 emergency dispatch about 10:13 p.m. July 26 and reported shots fired in the Michael J. Kerwin Terrace housing community. When police arrived on the scene, officers reported that they found the unresponsive body of the victim seated in a chair at the rear of Building 8. The preliminary police investigation revealed that one or more assailants approached the victim and shot him several times. No suspects have been apprehended at this time, and detectives are investigating the case. If you know something, please call the Major Crimes Unit at 642-8449 or Crime Stoppers. Meanwhile, dozens of people throughout the territory have been recent victims of credit card fraud, and the police want to hear from those affected. Now, police are urging people who have been ripped off to make a police report as soon as possible, as we have reported, after contacting their bank. Investigators say the fraud seems to be originating in Florida, but can happen anywhere. Officials say the number of reports they've received don't reflect the trend, and they're concerned about that.
It's imperative that once a victim notifies their banking institution, the next step is to make a formal report to the proper authority, which is the police department or the Attorney General's office. The assistant commissioner said, contrary to at least one published report, the police department follows specific protocol when investigating fraud cases. Once a report is received, the VIPD Insular Investigation Unit contacts the victim's bank and, on a case-by-case basis, reaches out to other local and federal agencies during the course of the investigation.
Also, several candidates running for office are having problems with their political signs. Police are warning people who vandalize or destroy the signs to stop. In a statement issued Monday, Assistant Commissioner Thomas Hanna said anyone who is identified by police as a culprit in that destructive practice will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The penalty for destruction of property can carry a sentence of up to 1 year in prison. Vandals can be reported to 911 or Crime Stoppers. And here's an update. Police are still investigating that holdup at the Randall Doc James racetrack more than a week ago. According to officials from the DV casino Monday, there's still no new information about the 3 masked gunmen who stormed the track's casino and made away with a significant amount of money. Officials say they are still not releasing the amount that was taken. The robbery happened early the morning of July 17th with just a few employees present. No one was injured during the heist. A 17-year-old girl still remains at large and possibly on St. Thomas. Police are still trying to determine the whereabouts of Tarika Alexander, who's been missing for the last 2 weeks. Alexander was last seen July 14th on St. Thomas, but police say she could be in either district. She's familiar with both St. Thomas and St. Croix. Alexander is 6 feet tall and roughly 190 pounds. She has short black hair and is originally from St. Thomas. She may be wearing a wig, police say, weave, or extensions. They're concerned for her safety and urge anyone who has seen her pictured here or who may have information to contact the VIPD's Juvenile Investigation Bureau. Turn our attention overseas. Lawmakers have reached a bipartisan deal to start fixing the embattled Department of Veterans Affairs. The agreement comes 3 months after revelations some veterans may have died waiting for care. Thousands more were on secret waiting lists, and whistleblowers say they were punished for trying to sound the alarm. Mark Albert has the details from Washington.
Thousands of veterans still on a VA waiting list are about to get help.
The VA has caused this problem, and one of the ways that we can help solve it is to give veterans a choice.
The VA reform bill announced Monday would allow vets who have been waiting for care longer than 30 days or live 40 miles away from a VA facility to see a private physician, open up to 27 new VA facilities, and give the Secretary more power to fire executives in the agency. The bill has a $17.5 billion price tag.
Planes and tanks and guns are a cost of war. So is taking care of the men and women who use those weapons and who fight our battles.
Veterans groups say if Congress passes the bill, it will make a difference.
For those veterans who are waiting right now, who've been on these secret waiting lists, who have been reached out to, who are sort of coming out of the shadows now, immediate access to care is the most important thing for them.
Alex Nicholson is with the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America.
The bill's definitely not going to solve all of the VA's problems. There's a lot left to be done. This is basically a starting point.
The House and the Senate are expected to vote on the bill before leaving for their recess at the end of this week. Mark Albert for CBS News, Washington.
And keeping our eye on the economy, the newest member of the Apple family is being sued. Beats Electronics is accused of copyright infringement by Bose, which alleges Beats infringed on 5 of its patents for noise-canceling headphones. Apple paid $3 billion to buy Beats from its founder, Dr. Dre. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow up 22, NASDAQ down 4. Coming up on News 2, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, made a surprise visit to the Wannabe Hospital. More on that. Plus, our summertime segment, we are surrounded by water, so why not take advantage of it? Have you ever thought about learning how to sail? Some details coming up. Good news, the Department of Human Services Medical Assistance Program will now provide coverage for breast and cervical cancer treatment to uninsured women. The VI government recently received approval from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, through an amendment to the Medicaid state plan. Applicants are not required to prove income or assets, but must verify U.S. citizenship and VI residency, age below 65, uninsured, and diagnosis of breast or cervical cancer at a Centers for Disease Control approved site, the nearest of which is in Puerto Rico. Women who have tested positive for breast or cervical cancer at the Department of Health clinics must have their diagnosis confirmed. Air travel will be provided through MAP. You can call them for more information. Meanwhile, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services made a surprise visit to the Juan Luis Hospital on Monday. The group of 7 visiting from CMS told Juan Luis executives they plan to conduct a hospital-wide survey. They also plan to address complaints. Juan Luis' interim CEO said he was expecting a return visit from CMS to conduct the full hospital survey, but he's confident the work the staff has done will reflect well. The inspection began Monday and is expected to continue through the next 5 days. Senator Alicia Chucky Hansen has sent a letter to the Commissioner of DPNR alerting her to a problem residents in St. Croix are having with red dust settling on and in their homes and cisterns, and asking how it will be addressed, specifically residents who live in Estate Prophet, Estate Clifton Hill, and Estate Harvey. The senator said she has been informed about an increase in asthma attacks as well. Red dust is not a new problem on St. Croix. Lawsuits against the company St. Croix Alumina involving red dust from a mound that sits on St. Croix's South Shore resulted in a legal settlement that includes remediation. That mound is on the property now owned by St. Croix Renaissance Group. Count on 2 to keep you updated. Meanwhile, the Department of Planning and Natural Resources has been awarded an $841,000 federal grant to be used to administer the territory's coastal zone management program. The grant monies are provided by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, through the National Coastal Zone Management Program. The NOAA award notice was issued last week. Among other administrative functions, the NOAA grant will provide for continued participation in regional planning activities with Puerto Rico and other entities with a view toward adapting to climate change. The grant supports the department's assessment of its permitting processes and the importance of watersheds impacting coastal areas, specifically Megan's Bay on St. Thomas. It is time for our summer fun segment. Now, we are surrounded by water, so why not take advantage of it? Have you ever thought about learning how to sail? Some say it's the most relaxing thing you can do on the ocean. You can take various VI sailing classes that give you the know-how to sail a 20-foot sailboat and larger boats. With more advanced classes, you can even do an excursion where you actively participate on a racing yacht as you and your team head toward a finish line. There are a few sailing schools that offer sailing lessons and certifications in beginning, bareboat, and advanced programs. Most of the sailing classes include sailing in St. Thomas, St. John, and even the BVI. Some of the sailing classes are taught in a 3 to 9 day live aboard approach where students are totally immersed into learning to sail and cruise. A total of 49 young men successfully completed the 2014 Junior University program at the University of the Virgin Islands St. Thomas campus. Commencement was held last week Friday at 5:30 p.m. Male 7th graders who are in danger of not proceeding to 8th grade because of difficulty in certain classes are given a second chance in this 5-week summer program put together by the Department of Education and hosted by UVI. The students participate in classes including math, reading, and the arts. Congratulations to all the graduates. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.